Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberker. It's been called the world's first drone carrier. Commissioned on Monday, the TCG Anadolu, which began construction in 2016, was built mostly with domestic parts. It will also be equipped with the country's latest UAVs, the TB3 Bayraktar drones. The multi-purpose assault ship is expected to play a vital role in Turkey's maritime security, especially in the heavily contested Eastern Mediterranean.
TCG Anadolu sayesinde dünyada ilklerden olan oyun değiştiren teknolojilere, sistemlere ve çözümlere öncülük eden bir ülke haline geleceğiz.
And to discuss Turkey's newest flagship and its naval strategy, joining me now from Budapest is Zoltan Egeresi. He is a political analyst. And Tarik Oguzlu from Istanbul. He is a professor at Aydin University. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. So, Tarik, the TCG Anadolu has now been commissioned into Turkey's Navy. What's the significance of its delivery?
I think this speaks volumes about the capacity of the Turkish military to organize some extraterritorial operations in far distant places, in particular regarding Turkish military activity in Eastern Mediterranean region, Aegean Sea, and some nearby seas in the Black Sea, for example. This particular development will give an immense degree of opportunity to Turkish Navy to undertake some very important operations. This also suggests that Turkey has gone a long way to increase the degree of relying on domestic sources in terms of producing such a very important military capacity. This is also somehow important in terms of Turkey's reach to far distant places in terms of its geopolitical considerations. And this might also help Turkey to cooperate with NATO within the framework of multinational NATO-led military operations in the years to come, because this capacity on the part of Turkey would very much be in line with NATO's emerging transformation.
So, Zoltan, could you also talk to us about Turkey's new flagship vessel? I mean, what role, Tarik mentioned a few, but what role will it play in the Turkish Navy, you think?
Yes, it will greatly increase the Turkish Navy capability, because it will be able to conduct long-distance military operation and especially enlarge the Turkish Navy capabilities within the Eastern Mediterranean. Here, it's important to emphasize that based on the Eastern Mediterranean, only one country has similar shape, Egypt. But the new Turkish flagship is more modern, it has better capabilities and so on. So from this respect, Turkey will have a unique position. On the other hand, not just only military intervention operations can be used, but also for humanitarian relief operations as well. It is a hospital, so it can host people. So it will be rather a really important ship in order to strengthen Turkey's position from the Black Sea via Aegean Sea to Eastern Mediterranean and even greater distances.
So Tarik, is this going to be a game changer? I mean, what do you make of the Turkish efforts to reinforce its naval capabilities? Is it going to alarm some regional countries when fully became operational?
Actually, I'm not that much sure about whether this event will produce a kind of game changer issue in terms of Turkey's relations with other countries in nearby regions or Turkey's military capacity. But it will for sure improve Turkey's military capacity and to make Turkish Navy visible in and around the agency. This is quite important. And this also suggests that Turkey has really improved its internal military industry capacity to produce such an important flagship. And this will increase the kind of maybe anxiety on the part of some of Turkish neighbors, because some of Turkish neighbors are not that much happy regarding the transformation in Turkish foreign policy. But if you are a good part of Turkey, if you cooperate with Turkey, if you are a good neighbor of Turkey, you wouldn't have any reason to feel anxious about this capacity. But if you have some crisis or points of disagreement with Turkish government, so you might jump to the conclusion that this will very much be in the advantage of Turkey. So you will try to make sure that you go along with Turkish cooperative initiatives or foreign policy orientation in a much better way. This is a kind of plus. This is a kind of asset on the part of Turkish government, and Turkey will use this opportunity to its optimum extent. There is no question about that. There is no question about it.
So, Zoltan, we've mentioned like this ship will play an important role in safeguarding Turkey's waters as well as its humanitarian efforts on the high seas. But how will this impact what kind of an impact actually it will have in disputed areas, as we have just mentioned, like the Aegean and Eastern Mediterranean?
It probably will increase the Turkish room for maneuver. And of course, military capabilities are always, or it's better if they are integrated into diplomatic efforts as well of the given country. But by and large, it will rather strengthen the Turkish position and in the different disputes. The adversaries, different countries, will have to take rather into consideration of the Turkish Navy and the Turkish military capabilities as well. So let's say Turkey will have a better say in different affairs. And it's also important to highlight that this amphibious assault ship has the capacity or the capability to host military helicopters and Turkish drones as well, which is worldwide novelty, and especially the new TB3, the Bayraktar TB3 drones, which are ready to be hosted by this military ship, will also contribute to this kind of military shelf of the Turkish Navy.
So, Zoltan, Turkey has unveiled its new Bayraktar TB drones this year. When they are fully integrated into this ship, what kind of a difference they would make? I mean, could Bayraktar TB drones make TCG Anadolu more capable?
Yeah, because the Bayraktar TB3 drones are even better than the Bayraktar TB2 drones, which are already famous all around the world due to the war in Nagorno-Karabakh and Ukraine. This new version are a little bit better, a little bit later, longer range military drones, which means that this ship will even have a higher room for maneuver in military operations.
Tarik, Turkey had previously contemplated ordering a small fleet of fifth-generation F-35B light, two short of takeoff and vertical landing fighters for the TCG Anadolu, but that has unfortunately changed. So could these drones prove as successful as F-35 fighter jets moving forward?
It is an open-ended question. I think no military analyst on Earth will be in a position to give a confirmative answer to this question, because F-35 and Turkish drones are of different nature. They have different capabilities to fulfill. Their missions are quite different from each other, but it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that This drone capacity on the part of on Turkey's disposal will improve a lot Turkey's military capacity. It is for sure, at least from my own perspective. And we should not forget the fact that in recent years, Turkey has achieved many diplomatic successes on the ground in reference to its drone capacity. That's why nowadays there is a kind of burgeoning literature in Turkish foreign policy suggesting that there is an ongoing process of dronization of Turkish foreign policy. So having this capacity, on the one hand, the drones themselves, and having this flagship that will carry those drones to far distance places will improve a lot Turkey's diplomatic capacity. A gunboat diplomacy, maybe, we should put it this way.
So Zoltan, are these types of smaller and maybe cheaper type of amphibious ships replacing aircraft carriers? Is the trend around the world changing?
It's a good question. We can see in other cases, in other countries, that they are improving or developing this kind of flagships or this kind of amphibious assault ships. But I will emphasize that rather the dronization, the use of drones in greater areas will rather be limited game changer in this field. So, I mean, bigger fighter jets will still be employed, like the F-35 project, which can be also already cannot be neglected in the future, even for the Turkish military as well, as Turkey is also intending to developing its own military aircraft in this field.
So is this a new way of naval warfare?
Yes, I would say that it will highly improve in this field the Turkish military capabilities, and in case of other countries as well, because it's rather, as you mentioned, a cheaper option for the navies. But as an amphibious ship, it has a greater capabilities for land-related military operations as well.
So, Tarik, Turkish defense officials have said 70% of the parts of TCG Anadolu ship was domestically produced. So how important is this ship to Turkey's push to produce most of its military hardware at home?
I think it's quite significant. It is already obvious to us, taking into consideration the fact that since the late 1970s, Turkey has gradually improved to its capacity to produce its military needs on its own. So this flagship, actually, this flagship is very important in this particular sense. It demonstrates without any hesitation that Turkey has acquired a significant capacity in terms of producing its own weapons. This is also important because in the current international political environment, in the emerging geopolitical tensions in international politics, having the capacity to produce your own goods or on your military equipments will be decisive in terms of how the emerging international political environment takes place. But we should not forget the fact that if Turkey hadn't have some negative relations with Western international actors, if Turkey had not been excited from this F-35 project, maybe Turkey would have not put too much an emphasis on producing this flagship. Yes. So whenever we have crisis with Westerners, this produces some positive outcomes in terms of Turkey acquiring the capacity to produce it needs on its own. So this is something important we have to underline.
So Zoltan, when do you think Turkey will become, Turkey's actually defense sector fully become self-sufficient or independent? I mean, what are the main challenges you see before that?
It's difficult to say because, I mean, in a globalizing world, it's really extremely difficult to be 100% independent from the market or from other countries, even from your allies. But let's say in the future, Turkish independence will increase in many fields of military technology. As far as I see, like in the issue or in the field of engine producing, it's key for the upcoming years for the Turkish military to become independent or decrease its dependence on its partners. But probably it will happen that we can see tremendous change during the last at least 20 years, but even the project to create their own independent or less dependent Turkish military industry started many decades ago. So we can see a rather greater impetus right now during the last years, the last 2 decades. And during this time, in many fields of military industry, we could see greater Turkish achievements, not just concerning this amphibious assault ship as a flagship, but in other cases like in the field of corvettes or frigates. Already we have Turkish-made new warships, and different projects are undergoing,
yes.
Which compared to the previous years, previous decades, seems to be a huge novelty, but based on the internal Turkish military dynamics, it's totally in line with the internal developments and logic.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.